So you didn't get the job. I know how hard this is for you, and I know how bad you probably feel, like you've wasted so much time preparing for your interview, and you had your heart set on Japan. Maybe you packed your bags already. Maybe you spent years and years waiting until you graduated just to be told that, we're sorry, but we decided to, move forward with another applicant. And I want to tell you I know it's so cliche, but there will be another bigger and better door that will open for you very soon. You can't give up. You have to keep trying. Don't let 1, 2, even if 5 or 10 jobs turn you down. Maybe you didn't even get an interview. You're still just trying to land your first interview here in Japan. It will come to you. Just relax. Take this time to build your resume and better yourself. Don't worry. Just because you interviewed at a few places and they didn't get back to you, or maybe you interviewed, over Skype or even in person, and they, emailed you saying that they weren't interested, it does not mean that they won't come back to you. Even now, I have places that are, from way back when I lived in Tokyo, now almost 2 years ago, that have contacted me saying that, are you still available? Like, our teacher quit, etc. And now they want to hire me. And of course, now I'm at a much better company and I don't need them anymore. But I have literally cried over interviews that, I completely fluffed and messed up. I have applied to lots of places that never got back to me, and it's okay. You don't want to work at just any place. You want the right place and the right job. And when the right opportunity comes, you will know when, that's the job, that's it, and it will only be yours. You don't have to worry about competing with other applicants. Don't worry if you don't get the job. There's more jobs out there. There's lots of schools. While you may have wasted your time and even some money, it's not really a waste. It might feel like it, but it's not. Any of the materials that you bought for your demo lesson, they can be reused for jobs in the future. I have the same flashcards and book that I bought a while back to help me with my interviews, and I still use them. I actually just recently interviewed and got hired. I told you guys on Patreon that I was looking for a third job to help me with my YouTube channel so I can buy better equipment, etc., and help pay for vacations and travels that I want to do with my boyfriend, hopefully this year or next year. But yeah, I even had a place that I applied to like a month ago who chose another teacher over me. Things didn't work out, and now they're like, you interested? And now the ball is in my court. Now I can turn these other places down. You will be able to do the same thing. Do not worry about, jobs that you're trying to apply to from overseas. It's hard, but once you get your foot in the door, if nothing else, it's all a learning experience. Every interview that you go to, see it as, getting one step closer to landing that job. And again, once you get your foot in the door, you're here, you have a work visa, it'll be so much easier to find another job. And the reason being is, Japan has a lot of English teachers, but most of these English teachers are not native speakers. So if you are a native English speaker and you're watching this video, it's only hard to find a job from overseas. Once you're actually in Japan, there's a lot less competition, and even for those of you who are native fluent or not native speakers, same rule applies to you. A lot of the people here, they get pregnant, they get divorced, they go back home. Now they need someone to quickly fill these positions, and what better teacher than you? You're already here. So don't worry. There's lots of other companies. There's new schools always popping up. There's recruiting agencies. Do not give up just because you failed at one interview. There's so much more. As I've said before, when you're applying for a job to teach in Japan from overseas, the ball is in the Japanese employer's court. They know how desperate you guys are to come over here and teach and work in Japan, so they're a lot pickier with how they choose teachers. They oftentimes ask for you to write essays, and they do 2 and 3 interviews. They would never do this stuff if you were physically living in Japan. Why? Because they don't want to lose you. They want to keep any native speaker that they can get, especially if you're a native speaker that has a degree or a native fluent speaker that has experience with teaching. These are things that are hard to find within Japan. But of course, overseas, if they're stationed, recruiting specifically from America, well, now the ball is in the employer's court. They can be as picky as they want to be. So don't feel like, oh my God, it's impossible to find a job in Japan. Again, all you need is that one breakthrough. Make looking for a job your full-time job. If you didn't get hired, nobody's calling you back, freshen up your resume, freshen up your cover letter. Consider making a personal statement. While you're in the process of waiting to get a job, take this time to brushing up on your Japanese skills. Consider volunteering so that you can, improve and update your resume. Make sure that there's no grammatical errors. Take better headshots for your resume. Work on your English if you're not a native speaker, or if you just happen to not be so good at, English literature. Don't worry about, getting a job. It will come to you, but you have to be active. You cannot just send out one resume and expect to get, that job right away. Maybe you have to apply to 10 different places, maybe 50. You have to make looking for a job truly your full-time job. Stay on Gaijinpad, stay on Craigslist. There's so many different recruiting websites that are constantly popping up, on possibly a monthly basis even. And there's so many schools here that open up every single year. There will never be enough teachers to fill all of the positions in any Asian country, possibly, because people are always quitting. And try not to be so hard on yourself. As I shared in my own storytime videos, I've been fired, I've had problems with my coworkers, and despite having a degree in elementary education, despite having teaching experience, despite being young, despite being American, all of these different things, I have still been turned down for jobs, I have still been fired from jobs, and I've cried over jobs. I've had jobs that, I applied to, and they didn't even give me the time of day. I didn't even get an interview or a call back. I've interviewed and, didn't hear back from them even when I ask. You have bad experiences, but they just make you stronger. They build character and they prepare you. So now you'll be so much better as a teacher when you do get this job. And now you will also know what to do and what not to do during your interview and even at your workplace. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not necessarily you. It's not even necessarily your resume or experience. It just wasn't the job for you, and that's okay. There's more and better jobs out there. I've said this before, but I'll say it again for this video. Some of the worst places to work for in Japan are ones that hire overseas applicants. Those are places that are more desperate for employees because their turnover rate is generally high. People tend to quit these jobs a lot, whether it's because, the employee or, employer and coworkers are toxic and it's a bad working environment, or the pay is too low. They have trouble keeping teachers. And despite the fact that they have trouble keeping teachers, they tend to be very picky with how they, choose who they will hire. So they have strict requirements. And with that said, don't feel like it's your loss because they chose not to hire you. It's their loss because they're probably going to end up hiring a teacher that's going to quit, and they're going to regret and wish that they hired you. When you come to Japan, you will find that the best employers are ones that don't advertise online, that don't post on Craigslist, that don't post on Gaijinpad, but instead they're regular small schools that you'll pass every day. A lot of the schools that only accept domestic applicants, meaning those that actually live here in Japan, generally offer either better pay or again a better working environment, and that is what I've personally found to be true after having worked for multiple companies here in Japan. So again, don't give up. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't feel like you have to get hired by Nova or you have to get hired by GABA or the JET program or whatever. Even if 5 or 10 different companies turn you down, that's okay. There's plenty of more that will accept you. And just because you don't get accepted for this semester, try applying again, during the next season. There's new schools always popping up, new recruiting agencies, etc. Do not give up. Again, work on your resume, work on your headshot, make sure that you look professional, that you look friendly, work on your Japanese, do something fun in the meantime. Do not give up on your dream of coming to Japan just because a few places turned you down or you didn't pass the interview. I'm always adding new videos, but I have a playlist that I created about working in Japan as well as how to find a job here, and I also have several blog posts that give very detailed information, links, and company names that I highly suggest that you check out that can help you with your job search. Again, even if none of this stuff works out for you, keep trying. Do not give up. And again, make sure that you're, putting your best foot forward. Don't send out, a half-done resume. Make sure that you're actually trying and that your resume is specific to the job and that it really highlights your best qualities and skills that, will apply to you teaching in Japan. So that's that. I hope that you found this video helpful and encouraging. Again, don't give up. If you have any questions, need some help, you can always feel free to email me or leave a comment down below. I will try my best to answer you to the best of my ability. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.